ああ、俺らがプレスされてるな。あ、ごめんなさい。なんで暗かったっけ？あれ？こんな早かったっけ？ドア来た。なんか、北の出口のエスケープ方向に行きたいな。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange, this can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming!
そうだ、夢だ。彼は叫びました。これは全部夢なんだ。
Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers were actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so fun, and Stanley marveled how was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange.
何言ってんのかわからんようになった。私が考えたことを話す声について、私が考えたことを話す声の夢を私は見ているのか。人々は夢の中でこんな声を聞くのだろうか。これは夢ではないというのが真実です。
Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley.
結局のところ、彼はこの状況を理解していたのです。これはやっぱり夢だ。
Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to
鼻には毛布のひんやりした重みを感じ、背中にはもったりその弾力を感じ。さあ起きてくれ。彼は自分自身に念じました。さあ仕事に戻ろう。いつも通りボタンを押させてくれ。
Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please. It's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job.All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
現実です。ところがどっこい。
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I
My
have
name
a
is
boss, I have
Stanley.
an office, I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real, I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
あ、すべては暗闇へ消え去っていった。
This is the story of a woman named
マリエラ
Mariella.
という女性の物語です。
Mariella woke up on a day like any
Mariella.
other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her
あ、
place of
なん
work.
か
But on this
スタン
particular
レイ。
day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
あれか。俺がループやと思ってたけど、実は、ちゃんと外で歩けてたんかな。で、まあ、あいつの、スタンリーには、ループしてるようには見えたけど、
All of his co-workers were gone.
で、最終的にまあ叫んで外で倒れてもうたみたいな。
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
結構エンディングあるな。ボスまで、あれか。254。
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never
め
possibly
っちゃ教え
know
てくれる
the
けど。
combination was 2845.
まあ、次言われて、進まん。
2845.
めっちゃ教えてくれる。はい。
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in,
動画一
and
人
the
で飽きま
panel
した。
just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
まあ一応進むねんな。で、ここやんな、多分。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large
マインド
door
コン
of
ト
the
ロール
red
説の横
mind
エスケープ。
control facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was
この
that
奥で
at
待
the
ち構
end
え
of
てい
this
るのは
hall,
スタンリーの非
Stanley
常な
would
死
meet
です
his
が。
violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this
進んでる
point,
よな、
Stanley was
進んでる
making
な。
a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
でも、開いた。開いたけど、これ落ちたら死ぬんちゃう。ピッ。いやでもな、一回落ちることによってまたストーリー、あ、進んだ。お。
As the machine whirred into motion, Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise. It reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is.
いやでもな、まあ、
Perhaps his death was
実際どうなってるかまだわからんから。
like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
俺らがプレスされてるな。あ、ごめんなさい。Go.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator.
そ
As
れもスタ
Stanley
ンリ
was
ー。
led helplessly into the
なすべもな
enormous
く押しつぶ
metal
されまし
doors.
た。
In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated, as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
お、助かった。でもなんかナレーター変わったもんな。助けてくれた。機械止めてくれたもんな。The Stanley Parable.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Stanley's computer. なんか、あれやな、博物館みたいな。オフィスの模型、スタンリーの仕事場から2つのドアまでの道のりが、ゲーム開発者の初期に作られました。あれこれ。ギャラリーみたいな。スタンリーのオフィスから、そうやな、これ、オフィスあって、ここで2択やもんな。模型、スタンリーの模型が出てきた。ドア。ボタン。クレジット。でも、2択ある。ザ・オフィス。これ番号。初期バージョンのメンテナンスルーム。あれ、これゲームクリアして、これ知らん。スタンリーが戦場でエイリアンと戦うエンディングを構想していました。このアクションゲームには意識が芽生え、ナレーターに対抗し始めます。エンディングはあまりにもふざけすぎていて、鼻につくことが気になりました。意図することではありませんでしたが、シューティングゲームが好きな人をバカにしていると感じた人もいました。じゃあこれはボツワンってこと？エイリアンと戦うエンドは。いや、広いな。電話。アパートのエンディングにつながる選択肢として、電話取ってないな。コンセント抜いて終わったもんな。結構いろんな案があったってこと？それか、単純にまだいろいろ見れてないってこと？イグジってなんかこう、ちょっとあんま、いや、チラ見でもあれか、博物館的な感じか、4人。全部スタンリーの部屋か、これ。2011年、2012年、13年。全部違うんや。じゃあ、帰ろう。我が家へ。なんか鎖ある。これ？モニタールームのエレベーター。モニタールーム。これは知らん？モニタールームってあそこが一番最初行ったとこかな。
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it.
あなたの選択を。
Don't let time choose
あなたの選択を。
Don't let time
あれは走馬灯なんか。あれ、画面、これエスケープをして、エスケープをして戻れよってことか。じゃあ。